I have the games sitting in front of me.
I have both. I didn't originally, the games I was going to talk about, I didn't originally have them out here, but then Sam said he did, and I can't be one-upped. You know.
What retro game was I going to talk about?
Well, don't spoil it, because I started recording.
Well, I know, but like, now I can't think of what it was.
Wait, are we in the episode already?
I mean, I can edit it, but
It
sometimes I forget to edit. Like last week, I just forgot to edit it, so it went up. It just went up as is.
All of a sudden, there's no retro games that exist in my head. They just don't exist.
Well, maybe if we start talking, you'll...
Yeah, let's just start.
It'll come back to you. Well, I mean, I probably won't edit the beginning, so we can just start.
All right.
And I guess it's my job to do it, isn't it? So, episode 8, I think. I actually messed up, or mixed up, I guess, so I was saying both correct. Trying to name the file, like when I was taking notes, it's like, I saved it as episode 7 like 5 times. And then I realized that I was just saving over the one I made for last week's episode, or 2 weeks ago. And it's actually supposed to be 8. So that's how I know that it's 8.
Okay.
Okay.
But they every week it happens where it's like, it doesn't seem like we've done it 7 times already, but.
I know, geez. I mean,
it's gone quick.
Every two
I've been
or so
listening to all.
weeks. You and Rob and nobody else.
Sam's our #1 fan.
He is. We'll have to make him a shirt.
I'm here to keep you guys afloat. So.
All right.
Rolling in that money.
Yeah. So obviously Sam's the guest this week, and if you don't know Sam, then you don't know life. You know what I mean?
You're looking at the best
you don't know me,
GoldenEye player in the damn world. That's what.
Oh well, I think I'm ranked 40th these days, but pretty close to the best.
I mean, I'm probably not
first.
So
yeah, I was gonna say I'm ranked to 0. So
yeah,
I'm probably 41st in line of people with my exact same name. You know what I mean? So Sam, I'm gonna sound like a what's the word? A hypocrite. But I haven't watched your channel in a little while.
Well, I haven't been on the channel in a while.
What's that?
Is the thing. The channel, the Survival Review, has been me and Justin, who's been a buddy of mine since the 1st grade. And it started off as just to think, we both made the channel initially, and he didn't make a video for like the first year of the channel existing. And I just made a bunch of video game videos. And it became Sam's Survival Review video game channel. But then suddenly he started making movie videos, and it became both of us, and it just became, what it is today, what it was before, where it was half and half. And then I just stopped making videos, and now it's just him doing movies.
Is he still putting stuff up?
Occasionally, I think.
Yeah, he does. I'm still subscribed. I see him all the time.
Yeah, and the few videos I seem to pop in at all anymore. Each October we do a bunch of Halloween movie reviews, and
I do that. Yeah, I do that.
But for the most part, I just do GoldenEye speedrunning stuff these days. So
GoldenEye, right? Are you doing anything else?
No, as far as speedrunning goes, I just run GoldenEye.
Okay. Yeah, you've been doing that GoldenEye thing for a while,
dude,
right?
I can't.
Like 6 years
I swear to God, when he started it, I was like, he's gonna give up so fast on this. I was like, there's no way he's getting into like the top 100 people for GoldenEye.
Now, to be fair, I don't really play it that much anymore. I mean, I still am very much a part of that community and all the people that run the game, and I talk to them every day. But as far as playing the game, I still play it.
Well, I mean, let's just say it. The take your controller apart trick is the #1 trick. For all you speedrunning fans out there, that's the way to do it. Take the
controller apart trick.
It's a meme.
I told dude way back when.
I told Hunter about this a while ago. There's a guy named Trent in our community who posted these world records. I wasn't actually around in the community when this happened. This was before my time. But he said he discovered this trick that's going to save a bunch of time on just a ton of different levels. And he posted all these world records. He's like, oh my God, it's a second faster on a level that we thought was totally max and all this shit. And he wasn't telling anybody what the strategy was. They're like, well, show us the vid.
That's right. He wouldn't tell anybody what it was.
Yeah. He's like, show us the fucking vid, Trent. And then he finally uploads these videos. And it's this just dipshit strategy where he took his controller and literally there's a chip on it where if you press down on this chip on the controller while you're in a certain like transitional point in the game just fucks up and gives you the wrong time.
But then you got to put the controller back together.
Yeah, I don't
do this
know
every
how it
time.
works. I'd have to dig up and find the videos, but it's pretty hilarious. And
Yeah,
of course, we immediately banned the strategy.
Well, yeah, I mean that's just ridiculous.
We don't like tampering with hardware and all that stuff. But
God, that's
yeah,
funny though.
sometimes
I
joke
remember
about
that.
I've never been good enough to speedrun a game. A buddy of mine and I, we used to do, local speedruns of Super Mario 64. But you're talking, we just know it from being
Right,
as
sure.
a kid. I'd finish it like 6 hours or something,
but
which
it's
is
still fun. It's
Only-
still fun as hell. I mean,
The only game I think I could speedrun ever is probably Grand Theft Auto 3. I can beat that game in like no time.
the thing is that the form of speedrunning I do, I don't really do full game runs that often. I do with GoldenEye sometimes, but GoldenEye.
I was going to say you do like
it's essentially like time trials. Like
yeah,
any other
basically.
game. But GoldenEye, the way that it was made, encourages speedrunning in a sense, because to unlock the cheats in that game, you have to beat each level in a certain amount of time. So to get the invincibility,
so basically makes you do it.
yeah, exactly. So to get the invincibility cheat, you have to beat Facility on the double agent difficulty in under, I think it's like 1:20 seconds, which is fucking hard to do. That's like one of the hardest ones.
That's interesting that you have to beat something to unlock the cheats. You have to
Yeah, it's
beat
really
it
cool.
fine.
It's the same way with Perfect Dark, actually.
I wasn't even aware of this, so interesting.
Yeah,
Does
and
GoldenEye support the two thumbstick thing?
it
Yeah,
does.
it does.
It does, and it's actually used a fair amount in speedruns.
It's also harder than you would think.
It is.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah,
It's
I can
weird.
imagine it being hard.
I tried it at my buddy's. I was like, oh my god, I do not have the coordination for this.
Yeah.
But we use it because there's a glitch where basically during the cutscenes before a level starts, just like the little intro cutscenes, everything that you do on that second controller works in the cutscene. So if you
Really?
yeah, so if you start your movement, Bond doesn't actually start moving, but he'll start the level at full speed instead of just having to build up.
I know that.
So it doesn't save a ton, but it saves like 0.3 seconds on each level. And when you're trying to shave down time, and then there's some levels where you can shoot in the cutscene, and it actually shoots just from where the camera is.
Really?
And so you can shoot out objectives on like Depot, one of the levels, and you complete an objective before you've even started the level.
I was not aware of this.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite thing about speedrunning, those like just stupid quirks in the programming or whatever.
Right.
That's what gets so addicting.
It's amazing how far people are willing to go to find an exploit.
There's always new stuff being found.
There's that. Oh, what is it? Is that one in Zelda where they just somehow figured out some way to like get to the castle?
You're
Like,
talking about Ocarina of Time?
is that maybe it's that one?
Well, there's a bunch of different ones, but yeah, I mean,
Dude, there's a
Ocarina
new
of
one for
Time.
that game like every fucking week.
Ocarina of Time, I view as the game that keeps giving as far as speedrun.
It really
strategy
does, because every time someone gets one, someone finds another way.
It's like you would think, the any percent, which is just that category is whatever means to get to the end credits. Is
Right,
basically
yeah.
what that means. No matter what glitches you use, as long as you're not using cheat codes or tampering with the hardware. And with that game, it's like you'd think, okay, how long does it take to beat Ocarina of Time? Like a couple hours, and that's how it used to be. And so many glitches got found that eventually,
Dude, what is it now? It's like fucking.
eventually it got brought down to 1810, and the runner who got that, she was like, "That's it, it's over. This is done. Nobody's beating this. I'm retired. Nobody's beating this." And now it's like under 14 minutes. I haven't checked because they found a new strategy.
That's like the Fallout speedruns. Like, you can beat fucking Fallout 3 in like 8 minutes now.
My buddy used to hold the record in Fallout 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Giant.
He's still second, I think, or maybe third.
Just a baby.
Do they play the European version of GoldenEye?
On certain levels, just a couple. I actually have a PAL console specifically.
I remember when you got that specifically for that.
Yeah, there's only like 2 or 3 levels where it's advantaged, but since we do speedruns on each level,
right. I mean, you kind of have to.
If
you're that serious.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I've spent more time in GoldenEye than any other game by.
I mean, as a kid, it was definitely up there in my most played games. I played the hell out of that game.
Yeah, I still love it to this day, even though for the last 6 years I've played it. I haven't gone more than like a couple weeks without playing it over the past 6 years, and for a long time, from like 2014 to 2016, I probably didn't miss a day.
Yeah, that's like me with Fallout. I had like a span of like 2 years where like that was just it. That's all I played.
To be fair, I don't know if I've played it once in the past 6 years. You know what I mean? Like you mentioned playing it every day.
I think I have played it once in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
The thing with GoldenEye is it's the most popular answer to the question, what game did you used to love that hasn't aged well? And every time you ask somebody who was playing games around that time, they will very frequently tell you GoldenEye 007.
I would also probably give you that answer.
And it's kind of fair. I mean, visually for sure, the game
I'm gonna say
aged, but you go ahead.
What?
Were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say, I would say, yeah, it's a little rough to look at now, but I mean, every game from that era almost is.
Yeah.
But it holds up. It holds up way better than people give it credit for. There's games on the N64 that look way worse.
Definitely, and I personally, the part that I don't agree with fully, and it's obviously it's subjective. So if people don't like the controls, they don't like it. But people always bring up the controls, and the default controls are fucking garbage.
Yes, they are.
But I feel like nobody's ever actually tried to, or like all the people that say that don't typically try messing around with the different control styles.
Well, generally, as a 6, 7, 8-year-old kid, you don't give a shit. You're just playing it how it comes out of the box.
It's like you don't even know that that's a thing.
Right, you don't even know you can change that, yeah.
But with there's I think 8 total different control styles, 4 of which are just one controller, and 4 of which are 2 control styles.
That's cool.
And so it goes 1.1 to 1.4, and then the 2 controllers are 2.1 to 2.4.
Makes sense.
And the 1.2 control style, 99% of GoldenEye speedrunners use that, even though 1.1 is the default. Really? And the reason for that is because it's just fucking better.
Well,
it's basically like the Turok control style. If you've played Turok on 64, it's a little smoother because your aim is smoother than in Turok, because in that game you can't really look up and down very, very smoothly. It's kind of rough.
It's like with Call of Duty. I never play with the stock controls ever, because they're dog shit.
And admittedly, the N64 controller isn't the best controller.
It's not the most highly regarded controller.
I have literally a callus on my finger from the way I have to hold it, and how I've had to hold it over the years, which is not a sign of an ergonomic controller. But
do you use that Hori one?
Actually, you can't really. The thing with the Hori
probably
controller,
not set up for that.
The main issue with the Hori controller is that the joystick is way too sensitive, and so when you're trying to aim, you can't do anything with any kind of accuracy.
Right.
So Hori controllers are great for things like Mario 64, and a lot of Mario 64 runners use it, but for GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, it's like almost impossible.
It just doesn't work. Yeah.
Which is a shame.
Also, what a shame that Perfect Dark 0 was so bad.
I know. It's Perfect Dark. I mean, the GoldenEye community is the Perfect Dark community.
Well, I was going to say, almost everybody plays both.
Yeah,
I
don't actually
tried to speedrun Perfect Dark.
I don't personally do it for a couple of reasons. Main one being pause abuse, because that game in GoldenEye, one of my favorite features, and a lot of people are like, why would you care about this, is that when you pause the game, Bond has to lift up his watch and then put it back down. And in total, it takes about 2 seconds to bring it up and 2 seconds to bring it down.
Oh, here we go.
So each pause that you do loses 4 seconds. So you don't want to pause at all. Perfect Dark, it's instant. You can pause. And so people, it's like, hey, if I want to do this really precise trick, I'm going to pause 10 times to make sure I'm in the perfect position and move frame by frame. I can't fucking stand it. And it's like, I respect the guys who run that game so much. I'm friends with all of them, but I just can't do it. It's really dedication. Just unpleasant to play.
It's just dedication is what it is.
It is. And
it's a grind of love. It has to be.
Perfect Dark is a much more technical speed game than GoldenEye. There's a lot of weird shit with a lot of strange strategies. You can't really like warp through walls in GoldenEye, but there's a lot like glitchy walls in Perfect Dark that you can get through and do weird stuff.
All right, so it's fairly different.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
I love the game casually for sure.
Casually, he says.
Casually.
So since Sam was on the show today, and Sam's a big movie guy, and I think to an extent most of us are.
Yeah.
Even Hunter, you don't talk movies a lot, Hunter, but you are.
Yeah, I mean, I do watch a lot of movies. I mean, hell, me and Rob watched like 15 of them while I was there, and I was only there fucking 4 days.
Jesus. So, so I thought it'd be cool to try and incorporate the movie themes into the stuff that we talk about.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Came up with a few things to talk about instead of like news and stuff. Although I did, and Hunter, while you dropped out before we started recording, I did see one news thing that was pretty cool, and that's that they announced Curse of the Moon 2.
Well, really?
Bloodstained, yeah, Curse of the Moon.
That's pretty awesome.
Wow.
I was
gonna say the only big news thing that I've seen. I mean, obviously PS5, but everyone's talked that to death. It's PS5.
Yeah. So for the movies, we got 3 categories to talk about. We're going to talk about favorite movie-based video games, worst movie-based video games, and movie-based games that we would like to see.
Okay. Question about that question. Movie-based games that we'd want to see. Are you implying that it's movies we want turned into games, or it's games that are movies that we haven't seen the movies?
What?
Oh yeah, huh? If I say yes to this, I don't know what I'm
I
actually.
think the implication is
okay. Are you asking
a movie that you would like to see turned into a game that hasn't necessarily been turned into a game yet?
That's the question, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Are you saying like there's a game based off a movie and you haven't seen the movie?
But I played the game. Yeah, I didn't. The way you'd worded it, I don't know.
Yeah, because I said that we'd like to see. I'll level with you. All right, so no, this is games that you want to see turned, or
movies
games
that you want to see turned into games. Okay.
Yeah. So if you ever want to see Pocahontas the game, this is where that's already a game. So Mulan game.
That game already exists, Tyler. It's on
It
Sega
does.
Genesis.
It is. That's a late release.
Yes, it is. It goes along right with my Pinocchio.
So I've got a list. I've got a few, and Sam said he had pulled out some of the games that he was going to talk about. So I figured I would do that myself. And I'll start, and I'll just start with the one that's so obvious that we've all thought about it 15 times since we started the video. Everybody knows it's probably the best movie-based game of all time. And it might be. I don't know. It's definitely one of my favorites.
Oh.
Yeah. Pretty much anytime a chance comes up to talk about this game, I'll talk about it. You know what I mean? If the category was games that start with T, I would talk about it.
I mean, it came up in the Amico interview.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Tommy, of course.
Tommy did the music.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but yeah, it's one of those games. It's like Power Slave. Tyler's those are the 2 games he's preaching: Terminator and Power Slave.
Yeah. So yeah, Terminator is really good. And what's interesting is I've never played another Terminator game. I mean, it's all over. It's on Super Nintendo.
They're horrible.
On
They're
Genesis, horrible. NES. I know the NES one sucks.
I think one just came out. Just
Dark
recently.
Fate, no, not Dark Fate. Resistance. And now it's out of print. You can't even buy it.
Oh no, is it?
Yeah.
Oh
and it's
no.
Decent. It's a decent game.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah,
I hadn't even heard about it.
Right,
Hunter, you'll enjoy this. Go ahead and look it up on eBay. Go ahead.
Where's my phone?
He's about to look like Sarah Connor when the apocalypse happens in that dream where she burns to death. So he's about to look like
grabbing onto the fence.
Yeah. So, but anyway, have you guys ever played this actually?
I actually haven't.
Yes,
I really like it.
Yeah, Hunter, I figured you had played it. I imagine you would have played it at some point. It's good. I mean, you got to give it some time. Because the first gun that you get is really slow and weak, but you get an upgrade in the first level, and then from there on out, it's super good. I can't believe it actually exists, to be honest with you. Like, it doesn't deserve to exist. Like, it shouldn't be good. It's Terminator on Sega CD. That shouldn't be good, but it is really good.
Jesus Christ!
Awesome.
What's it going for now, Hunter?
I mean, if you want a US copy, you're paying over $100. No problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
it came out like in January, like right after Christmas. I mean, it was just
and probably nobody gave a shit.
no. It's who made that game? It's the same company who made that Rambo game years ago. You know that one that was like a on rails shooter.
Yeah, it also wasn't very good.
It was off. Yeah, it was terrible. But that one is supposed to be pretty decent.
Damn it. Well, it looks like I can import it for about maybe $40, but it's like I don't want to import it though. I want the US version.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. But
it's like
anyway.
You know, real quick, you know what other PS4 game is out of print that I wish I'd bought when I could have? Godzilla. God damn it.
Yeah, Godzilla. Yeah, that's right too.
Yeah, I think that is the rarest PS4 game.
Really?
Yeah.
Ever.
We had a copy. We had a couple copies of Family Video.
Yeah, the price on that right now I think is ridiculous.
Damn.
I'll look it up real quick, but.
All right, yeah, Terminator on Sega CD. All right, who wants to go next?
Sam can go next, but I did think of my game.
Okay.
That's good.
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious for me what my favorite movie-based game is. We spent the first half of this entire podcast talking about it. Of course, it's Polar Express on Game Boy Advance. No,
oh no,
GoldenEye.
Sam, I thought it was March of the Penguins. Come on now.
It's March of the Penguins. We'll get to that.
By the way, Godzilla's like $175, so I'm upset.
GoldenEye, yeah, it's. I'll shut up.
Is that the Japanese version? That's a cool box.
Japanese version's really cool. Yeah, love the box. This also is advantaged on certain levels, and it's yeah.
I feel like that's not a game that would be super common in Japan because it's so amazing.
It's actually it didn't do that well in Japan.
I was gonna say It just seems like one of those American things that just really wouldn't do well.
Yeah, and this is actually generally an easier version of the game because on several levels they left in normally in the English version. If you play a level like Caverns, you'll have the body armors placed around the level that you can find on the agent difficulty, which is the easiest. Yeah. But as you go up to the 00 agent difficulty, none of them are there, and you have to beat it without the body armor, where they left all those body armors in this version.
Oh, really?
Which is why on Caverns 00, to get the world record on that, these days you pretty much have to use the Japanese version.
Interesting. That's one of those just little unique changes between regions.
Yeah. And then just so I don't talk about GoldenEye for the rest of this thing, one other game that I don't hear too many people talk about, it's based on a movie series that me and Tyler are both massive fans of. This is a game I had back when the Xbox was out. This was one of my first experiences with this movie series, and that's Evil Dead Regeneration.
Yeah.
I need that.
This game is really cool. I've never played this one, but Evil Dead Fistful of Boomstick is also.
I want that one too, really bad.
So Fistful of Boomstick is the one I almost completed that game from beginning to end a couple of years ago. I mean, it's not like a marvel, but it's really fun.
That's the same with Regeneration. I mean, it's definitely flawed in a lot of ways, but I mean, if you love the series, the gameplay is not bad. It has some issues here and there, but it's fun to play, and it's like Bruce Campbell voicing him. You have a little sidekick voiced by Ted Raimi.
Yeah,
and it's hilarious. It's really just a nice kind of love letter to the series, and just I really enjoy it.
That's usually the one people will say is their favorite of the three.
Regeneration.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I still need to try Fistful of Boomstick.
Yeah, you should definitely play that.
I've been wanting to play that game forever.
That one has, well, I don't know if I should. I'm not gonna spoil it. That one's really good, especially if you like the movies. There's like stuff in that one that's cool. That's a good one. It takes place in Dearborn, Michigan, by the way.
Oh, really?
Really?
Which is near. That's where like Ford is headquartered, right? So it looks nothing like Dearborn, Michigan. That's
hilarious.
It looks like.
It looks as much like Boston as Fallout 4 does.
Yeah. So, but other than that, it's a good game. That's a fun one.
Cool.
Interesting. All right. You know what I'm gonna pick? True Lies on the Super Nintendo. If you like Zombies Ate My Neighbors, you have got to play True Lies. It is the same exact kind of game, and I'm gonna argue that it's better.
Hi, Billy Mays here for True Lies. That's what you sounded like.
Yeah. I don't even know. So my buddy bought this game. He found it at the flea market for like $1, which is a really good deal. That game's actually kind of hard to get now. And we took it home and started playing it. And we were both like, "Oh my god!"
It's like a top-down shooter, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like Zombies Ate My Neighbors in the same way. And you go around like killing people, picking up keys and stuff, and it's addicting. We played that for like 4 hours.
That's one of my favorite James Cameron movies.
I was gonna say, and it's also a great movie. So
I've heard that I've heard good things about the game before. You're not the first one that I've heard say that.
I
don't know how the other versions compare, but the Super Nintendo one was great.
I had no idea it was even on the Super Nintendo.
I think the Genesis version is like the same game, if I remember.
Yeah, it's also on the Game Gear.
Isn't it one of the rarest games on the Game Gear to get complete box?
Yes, I think it's
I've heard that.
It might be the third rarest game on the Game Gear.
That's a Schwarzenegger games.
Yeah. Great game.
I pulled out 2 more. I don't know if you guys have any more.
I can think.
I do have a couple more that I could talk about.
Okay.
I got one.
Okay.
You go ahead.
Go ahead. I don't want to you forget.
This is a modern game. It's on the 360. It's on the PS3 and the Wii too. Hang on, let me get the name right.
It's hold on, it's a modern game on PS. It's on Wii.
It's on Wii, PS3, and 360, and it's based off of a movie.
Okay. Should we try and guess it, or?
You're not gonna even come close. Guarantee it.
All right. Well, I mean, that sounds where I come from a little bit like a challenge. So why don't we see if we?
All right. Well, we'll guess, but I don't see you getting it.
On Wii, PS3, and 360, and it's based on a movie.
Is it an animated movie?
I don't know if it's all animated, but I believe it is.
Is it that?
Is it what?
That Tron game, maybe?
No, it's not. No, that game fucking sucks.
Oh, that's not on Wii either. That's a different game.
I'm trying to think.
Wii, Xbox, and PS3, or Xbox 360 and PS3.
Yeah.
Based on another. Is it like a Disney license?
It is a Warner Brothers license. Do they have anything to do with Disney?
No. Is it a Looney Tunes game?
Nope.
The Batman game?
Yeah, it could be Batman.
Nope, it's not Batman. I'm telling you, you'll have no fucking clue.
I'm not getting this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna guess it.
Legend of the Guardians: The Owls of Ga'Hoole.
I don't think anybody in the world has thought about that movie.
I didn't know how to say it, so I didn't want to embarrass myself.
I have never seen the movie. I don't really give a shit about it, to be honest. A bunch of owls flying around, woo-wee, right? The game is this amazing on-rail shooter.
Really?
Like, it's like half on-rail shooter and half kind of open. You can fly around. Dude, it's so fun.
They're like Panzer Dragoons with owls?
Yeah. You pick your owl, you pick your stats, you can level them up, you can train them. You fly around, you collect shit, and you shoot down other owls with rocks and stuff, and it's a great time.
Huh. It sounds like a hoot.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I have to recommend it. I really do, and it's like a dirt cheap game. It's like $2 on everything.
I love a hidden gem.
Legend of the Guardians: The Owls of Ga'Hoole. Yeah, Metal Jesus, take a note for your next one. Put that bitch in there.
Here,
not a game nobody would ever.
I would never
ever bring up.
I would never even touch that game in a store if I saw it. So you're opening my eyes. Exactly. You're broadening my horizons.
It's one of those games everyone would be like, filler title.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna grab one really quick. I can just show it.
Okay. I'll do my next one then. I've got 2 more, and then I have one that I can't show because it's it's not out physically. But this one might surprise you a little bit.
Good game.
Jaws on NES.
Good game. Underrated.
Sam, I was just saying I've got 3 more games, only 2 of which I can show, but the first one I said might surprise Hunter here. Jaws on NES.
Well, one of the few good LJN games.
I think it's a fine game. Yeah, I liked it quite a bit.
I played that. I gave Justin, because Justin, I brought him up, the other guy on my channel. His favorite movie of all time is Jaws. And so years ago, I had this little pattern of for his birthday, I would always give him an NES game based on a movie he liked. So I get 1 year I gave him Batman, 1 year I gave him Jaws. I would get him boxed copies of these games and give them to him. And I remember, I think we played Jaws, and I don't remember it being as bad as you know, good. Everybody's seen the AVGN video.
Really not that bad, yeah.
If I had to give you a triple pack of the good LJN games on the NES, it would be Jaws. I'm saying Back to the Future. That game is good, all right? I think that game is fun. And Friday the 13th.
I was going to say, I've got a soft spot for Friday the 13th. I don't think
it's really not that bad.
I think it's kind of a mess, but I still like it.
Oh, no, I mean, it could have definitely been made by a better studio, don't get me wrong. But I think that it's playable, unlike some of their other games.
You know, I'm looking at the game, and obviously this didn't tie in with the movie because the movie came out in 76 or something like that. 1987's got to be about the time The Revenge came out, right? Jaws: The Revenge.
That's probably pretty close.
One of these worst movies on the planet.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty bad.
It's absolutely
quite the downfall.
And what clued me into it is the tagline on the game, which I had never noticed before, but I don't know if you can read it. It says, "This time there's no escape," indicating that it's not the first time.
Right. This indicates of another Jaws.
Well, also in the game, the way that you kill the shark is you stab him with the tip of the bow.
That's
and
right.
That's the climax of Jaws: The Revenge. Spoilers for anybody out there.
Where the shark is roaring as it comes out of the water.
And it explodes. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it explodes. And speaking of Jaws, have y'all seen that new game, Manhunter?
I've seen some footage.
Xbox One, PS4. You're the shark, and you're eating people.
There's a Jaws game like that that I think I also got for Justin, and this is funny. This is bringing me back. I forgot we did this. We recorded like a Let's Play of that game, I think, and we never uploaded it.
Is that Jaws? It's Jaws Unleashed, right?
Jaws Unleashed. It was either on the PS2.
I think that game's going up a little bit now too.
Yeah, there's another one on Wii and 3DS, I think, too. The Ultimate Predator, Jaws Ultimate Predator, I think. Yeah, something like that. But
I mean, let's just say it. There's the first Jaws movie, masterpiece. Second one, pretty good. You can get rid of the rest.
Yeah, I've actually heard. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I've actually heard if you watch the third one as it's meant to be, like with 3D, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to watch, and I've never done it.
I'm not huge.
I have bad eyesight, so it's bad.
I don't love Jaws.
Accounted for the blind.
I honestly don't even love Jaws 2 that much.
I was gonna say it's acceptable.
It's not bad, yeah, but it's a sequel through and through.
Really, only the first one is a masterpiece.
Yeah. But I think you should watch Jaws: The Revenge for sure, just because of how ridiculous,
how horrible
this time it's personal.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen a movie. I would have to think hard about having a movie that has started out so high and fallen at depth. I don't know
so quickly too.
Not even Alien dipped that far down. It was close, but it wasn't that far. RoboCop maybe, but
RoboCop 3 has more merit than Jaws: The Revenge. I'd say.
Oh yeah, but I would say so. Yeah,
maybe given sure. RoboCop 4 it would have been, but
I would. Yeah, for sure. Jaws
and RoboCop 2, at least like. I like RoboCop 2 quite a bit.
Yeah, the second one's pretty good.
Whereas like any of the Jaws sequels, I'm kind of like, they're whatever.
Like I don't really want to watch it, but if we have to,
yeah.
Well, I'll throw out an opinion. Predator, 1, 2, and 3, I like. 4, I have really grown to just completely revolting movie to me. I just hate that movie.
I used to like it.
I saw it in theaters and I was like, it was okay.
That's kind of how I was.
It kind of killed me a little bit, but whatever. And then I watched it on Blu-ray and I just couldn't even finish it. It was so
really?
Me. It's such a bad movie. It's so bad.
That might be how it would be if I returned to it. I probably won't though, because just when I first saw it, had the same reaction. I was like, whatever. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it's just kind of.
It's not even that it's bad. It's stupid. It's like insultingly dumb.
Yeah.
Is
I remember especially like toward the end, like in the third act, where you could really tell the studio interfered a ton.
Well, the whole thing was reshot.
Yeah.
They shot the ending of that movie in the daylight
Yeah.
And then they ended up reshooting it at night because they realized it wasn't scary. Well, guess what? The night's not scary at all.
Well, I was going to say, but guess what? It wasn't scary regardless. So it
wasn't even
matter.
just that they reshot it; they changed the ending completely. They redid all.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
it's
bad
funny.
movie.
They already changed a terrible ending and probably made it worse.
Hey, maybe it could. Yeah, maybe could have been.
What could have been one of the could have been the best ending ever on top of the worst movie.
What I think makes again, we'll get back to the games here in a second, but just one more. What I think makes the first one so good, and what always ruins a lot of sequels for me, is once it gets like the first movie is so isolated that it could exist on its own and nothing else has to happen. But as soon as you get a sequel in where the government's involved and they have secret people everywhere,
as soon as you get there, it's been done 1,000 times. How are you going to do it? How are you going to do it better?
The Predator, sorry. By the way, the third one is on its own too. That could totally exist on its own. The fourth one is even worse. It's like there's a secret government agency, even worse than the Gary Busey character in the second one. So
at least the third one had like kind of a high premise where it's like, oh, we're on the Predator, we're on this other planet where we're all being hunted.
There was some plausible story.
It was just a different approach, and then the Predator, which is also just a stupid name. I guess their idea, yeah, I know. Well, because they started off with like the kind of cool looking Predator, and then they kill him off, and they have the stupid CGI Predator. And but I guess their take was, oh, it's Predator in the suburbs, like.
So it's like Jason Takes Manhattan. He's in Manhattan for fucking 45 seconds out of that whole movie.
Except
then most of the movie's him walking through the sewer.
Now, have you ever? I swear to God, we'll get back to it. I swear to God, we'll get back to the games. But have you ever read Predator: Concrete Jungle, the book?
No.
It's a sequel to the movie, and I'll just give you a premise, and then we can move on. But it follows Dutch's character from the first movie, his brother, who's a detective in, I think, New York City, and a predator comes to New York City. That would have been an awesome movie, I think. But
Predator 2 kind of has the whole city thing.
Yeah, Predator 2 sort of like that, and I think that's a cool, like, opposite, whatever you want to call it, to the jungle. It's pretty cool. But anyway, they ruined
Predator
it.
2 has some stuff I like. I don't hate that.
I like Predator 2. It's not that deep of a movie, but I really
have to remark that I hate when movies go like Rocky, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4, Rocky 5, Rocky. Why?
Rocky Balboa, it's called.
Why couldn't it be Rocky 5?
It is called Rocky 5.
It's like
Rocky 6 is Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
Oh, well, whatever. Why couldn't it be Rocky 6? It's like Alien. It was Alien, and then it was Aliens, and then it was Alien 3.
Yep.
Obviously, what does AVGN say? You can't call it Alienses.
True.
All right, Sam, you had one. I had Jaws.
I've got a couple little ones here. This is a game based off my favorite horror movie of all time, pretty much. Well, Evil Dead 2 is probably my favorite of all time, but this in terms of a legitimate just horror movie, not horror comedy. The Thing on the PS2 and the
I've
the
always
Xbox.
wanted to play that.
This game is cool.
Is it? I've always wondered if it's any good.
It's flawed for sure. It has its issues, but like, no, it's actually a pretty cool game.
It's a survival horror type, right?
Yeah, which is kind of what you would have to do with a.
Well, I was going to say, how else can you really do a game?
Yeah,
like
but this is actually kind of like a direct sequel to the movie. Which is funny because you'll have the prequel movie, which is called The Thing, the movie itself, which is called The Thing, and essentially the sequel, which is called The Thing. So there's your trilogy.
Aliens in 10,000 years are going to be like, what? Why are there 90 different versions of The Thing, and why are they all different?
Yeah. And then
prequel, by the way.
I've seen the prequel. Yeah,
I've seen the prequel. Yeah,
it's another one.
It's a shame what they did to it too, because it was. I mean, the movie wasn't going to be good no matter what. But they originally shot that with practical effects.
That's right.
And they CGI'd over all of it because the studio was getting nervous and like nobody wants to see a movie with. And it's like The Thing is legendary for its.
Well, here's the funny thing in the end. Nobody wanted to see it anyway, so.
That's true. But
what did you really accomplish?
Whatever.
No one wants to see a movie with real effects. They want CGI. It's the future.
And I haven't played these in years, but I used to love these games. And that's the Lord of the Rings games.
Oh, yes.
Xbox, GameCube, PS2. Yes. These games are awesome.
Oh my god.
In terms of
in Two Towers, chef's kiss, phenomenal.
Because there's a lot of games that are like based on movie franchises, like Evil Dead Regeneration and the Thing,
Right.
where they aren't adaptations. Like this is a sequel. Regeneration's a whole nother story. These are like adaptations of the movies, and they're fucking great.
Oh, they're
It's
like it kind of reminds me of like what would it be, like Baldur's Gate?
Sure.
Yeah, is that
Some sort of like that. I mean, they're like a hack and slash. I haven't really played Baldur's Gate, but
kind of like Diablo, sort of like Diablo.
More fun than that, I feel. It's more of like a
It's just a really over the top hack and slash, basically.
Yeah, essentially. But
like Gauntlet or something.
Yeah, sort of. Just lots of enemies all the time. I mean, it's Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it's been since I was probably 12 since I played these, and maybe they won't hold up.
No, they do.
I'm gonna come back to these, and
they hold up. Believe me, I played them within the last couple of years, and they're still good. However, Third Age, fucking terrible.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just they tried to make it an RPG, and it's just horrible. I think Pete Dorr did a whole video like on Lord of the Rings or whatever, and he was like, those two phenomenal. Third Age, one of the worst games on the PS2, and I'm inclined to agree.
What can you do?
Hunter, did you have any more?
No, I couldn't think of anything else.
Okay, I'll do two real quick then. The first one, Alien 3, or I should say the third one. Well, the third movie, my third choice. Alien 3 on Genesis. It's pretty good maze-style side-scrolling shooter. You have to kill all the aliens in the stage within, I think, a certain amount of time. I'm pretty sure these levels are timed. And it's good.
How does it compare to the NES version?
I don't know. Probably better. I would just have to guess. I've never played the NES.
Oh, he's being a shill for Sega again. Look at that.
I think they're mostly different games.
Tyler, sellout Garrett again.
I don't know what I've never played.
I don't know. For some reason, I felt like you had the NES one.
No. No, I've never played. I've never even played the Super Nintendo one either.
I do know that the NES one's interesting in the fact that it's one of those games that the cartridges were made by Acclaim.
Oh yeah, no.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a. I don't know if you guys noticed or knew, but I uploaded a Genesis collection video yesterday.
I watched it.
No shit.
Today.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, today. And I try to explain all of the different cartridges that you have or boxes or whatever. But this is an Arena game, and Arena is a subsidiary of Acclaim. I can't see my computer.
Yeah, they have their own boxes, don't they?
But it says Acclaim on the back of it.
Oh.
Then it says it in there too.
Yeah, I know Konami's got cases that say it in there. Capcom, I think, does.
Namco has some too.
Namco, yeah.
So that's a good game too.
Oh, and he did the whole video. And skipped right over Cindy. Forgot. Didn't mention it.
I almost included Predator 2 in the list, but
is that good?
Yeah, it's not a bad game. It's kind of like I don't really want to. It's kind of like Smash TV, I guess. You know, it's that game.
Okay.
Not like locked in the same room, but like
right,
the same.
It's more open than that.
Right. Yeah, same problem. Okay.
The last game I cannot. I don't know if it's still on here or not. I cannot. It is. Wow, look at that. I cannot show you because it's a download only, and unfortunately, you cannot play it on an actual phone any longer. But let me see if this. Wow, this is running like it might actually play. Oh no, it just quit. Okay, but there's a really good game on mobile, which you can probably just get on the internet somewhere somehow. Called Army of Darkness Tower Defense.
I remember you talking about this.
I do love me some tower defense games.
Really good game, really fun. I ended up beating it, and
really,
like Army of Darkness, it's a just total. I don't know if love letter is the right word or not, or the right saying, but
it's a total swan song.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's all Bruce Campbell quotes. It's all the skeleton quotes. You know, you get catapults, you get arrows, and stuff like that.
It's just funny. It's like, why couldn't we get this in a console game?
I'd buy it today.
Why did it have to be a mobile game?
And for some reason, well, actually, it works pretty well mobile because you're not doing a lot of action.
It's a tower defense game, so I can see why it was a mobile game.
Yeah.
I do love those types of games.
Yeah, and unfortunately now you can't even play it. It's still on my phone because I've never deleted it.
That's a shame.
So it's still there, but it won't run.
Yeah, it's a shame.
That's a shame.
It's like finding a phone with Flappy Bird now.
That's something that really bugs me about mobile games and games that are digital only, is because a lot of them just get killed. And it's
some
like,
update will come along and it'll just kill them. Yeah.
So maybe it's like, sure, mobile games insignificant in the grand scheme of things. I don't think anything should be destroyed permanently. I think there should be a way
all media should be preserved.
Yeah.
Everything should be preserved in some way of at least one copy of something.
Yeah, but
like I don't give a shit. I don't really give a shit about this lamp, but there should be one around.
I don't know about maybe not everything should be preserved, but
I mean,
no, everything should be preserved.
If there's at least one person who wants to play a game again at some point, I think they should have the option to be able to come back to it.
I've got a couple of those on like the 360 arcade that they're gone. Yeah. Can't get those anymore.
Part of the reason why
the Adventure. How about that one?
Which one?
Castlevania: The Adventure Rebirth.
Yeah.
Good
luck. Yeah.
What'd you say, Sam?
You can't get that anymore.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah. But that would still exist out there somewhere. Like you could,
someone has to ROM somewhere.
They'll probably re-release it in some fashion. I would think, but you never know.
I'm sure if it's still installed on your
or anything.
Yeah, if it's still on your Wii, I think you can.
Don't get your hopes up. Konami sucks.
That's true. They'll make a Pachinko machine.
Oh, speaking of Konami, this is really off topic, but I need to point it out. Where's it here? Here it is. You should keep an eye out for this game because it's like $40 right now. Konami Classics.
Really?
It has Symphony of the Night on it, which I've never played.
You never played Symphony of the Night?
No, and it has Super Contra and Frogger also. Huh. I've never played Symphony of the Night, and I don't see myself ever finding the PS1 one for $2. So,
is that
you gave me, or I bought Symphony of the Night from you at one point, Hunter.
You what now?
I bought my copy of Symphony of the Night from you.
Did you? Oh yeah, you did. You did. I remember that. I totally forgot about that.
You had it at one point.
You bought it from me. Jesus Christ. I give you my whole Dream Class collection. We give Tyler Dracula X. And Symphony of the Night, for that matter. And Yoshi's Story. Where the hell's my gifts?
Everything too.
Where the hell's my gifts? I feel like George Costanza.
I'll re-gift you something. How's that?
All right. Senti sounds good.
That wasn't a gift.
Yeah, but it would be a great gift for me.
Yeah, well, yeah, but maybe I'll give you a picture of Senti.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
I wish you were here card.
Wish you were here.
All right. How about worst movie-based video games?
I'm going first because actually, Sam go first, but I really hope that I didn't pick the same game.
No, you wouldn't have picked this. This ties in with some of the other games we had already talked about, because unfortunately, Evil Dead has not had only good games.
Oh, okay.
I remember playing a burned version of this when I first got my Dreamcast, and I eventually got an actual copy because I'm a weirdo. But Evil Dead: Hail to the King.
Oh God, horrible.
Is just really not good.
It's really bad.
Yeah, really.
It's trying to be a Resident Evil type pre-rendered background, kind of game.
Just didn't do it.
It does have Bruce Campbell, which is a plus, but it's just not.
It only matters so much still if the game is shit.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, and mostly it's probably not one of the worst games ever made, but it's just disappointing to me as an Evil Dead fan. Which it's a movie-based game, so you kind of have to assume they're bad before going in most of the time.
All right, I got one. The second I read the question, I had the answer. Bebe's Kids on Super Nintendo. Because Sam was going to be on the show tonight, I was like, it has to be Bebe's Kids.
That is one of my least favorite games ever.
Don't get me wrong. It's an absolutely horrendous game.
And I'm not sure if that was based on the movie or the show, but there was a movie too. So
yeah, I was going to say, there's a Bebe's Kids movie, so I'm assuming.
But the show was the more popular of the things.
I don't know. Okay, well, regardless, it has a movie, so I'm counting it.
Pretty sure it has a movie, yeah.
That game is horrible.
Because I already don't really like beat 'em ups very much, and it's probably the worst beat 'em up.
Body Slam on CDI, Sam. Come on.
It's true, I do.
That's like the best beat 'em up on the system because it's the only
sequel to Super Pro Wrestling.
And it's Mutant Rampage Body Slam.
That's what it is. Mutant Rampage Body Slam. Yeah.
It's a weird beat 'em up. It's actually not terrible.
It's bad when that's the game to get for the system when it's also not really good.
It's like whatever, and then you look in comparison to the rest of the library, you're like, oh man, this is gold.
Right? Yeah. You look at the rest and you're like, oh my god, this is a masterpiece.
It's on PS1, you'd never touch it. But...
So it's Bebe Kids. That's what it was yours, Hunter.
Yeah, I'm going with Bebe's Kids, but I had another answer for that too, and I don't remember what it was. Go tell yours. If I think about it, I'll put it in.
Well, unfortunately, I only had one, and because I don't buy a lot of games that I know are bad or that I don't have a lot that are still known to be bad. But this is one, and it's just such a small world we live in, isn't it? I bought this game when I bought my Genesis, and God, it sucked. It was really bad. As completely playable as Fistful of Boomstick was, like as pick up and play, and like just instantly kind of, okay, this is definitely a 2000s THQ game, but I'm enjoying it. This is the opposite of that. It is really, really bad, and I can only imagine it gets worse if you play it on a PlayStation 1. I can't even.
Oh God, sure, yeah, I'm sure it's like amplified the shittiness.
Yeah,
yeah. You shouldn't play this one. You know what's funny though is it's made by Heavy Iron Studios, who I think made Fistful of Boomstick. Sam, you've got it there, right? Didn't they make?
Let's take a look.
I believe they did.
I don't see Heavy Iron Entertainment anywhere on here.
So one game that I'm quite sure that they did make is SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom.
Oh wow!
Great game. Yeah. The remake came out today, and I want it.
It came out today. Wow, I need to.
Yeah.
This is. I mean, you got THQ and VIS Entertainment. I've even heard of.
Oh, you know what? I'm wrong. Oh no, that's Rehydrated. Never mind. All right, I'm trying to look at make sure I'm getting that correct. That it was Heavy Iron Studios. I'm almost yeah, it was Heavy Iron Studios. But did they make Evil Dead: A Fistful of Boomstick? Let's find out here. Evil Dead: A Fistful of Boomstick. We go to Wikipedia like we do, and developers, no, VIS Entertainment. Not sure where I got it. Maybe it was Regeneration. I'm not sure, but anyway.
Frankie Pants Games, it looks like.
Gotcha. Okay, then I was way off. Anyway, this game's bad. Battle for Bikini Bottom is really good. This has got to be their worst game. If it isn't,
God help you.
That's a shame.
Yes.
God help you.
It's not good. Hopefully the new Evil Dead game that's been announced by like Bruce Campbell but nobody else is better.
So one other game I'll show for worst games is probably the most baffling game in terms of like who wanted this.
Why is it a game?
It was like sure the film was successful, but it's a documentary.
It's like Dark Man.
And it's March of the Penguins.
I knew it was coming.
On the Game Boy Advance.
March of
they made a game.
Terrible. It's terrible.
They made a game of March of the Penguins. I guess the only thing I could really compare it to is like Lemmings, I guess, except like way slower and
also 1/100th as good as Lemmings.
Yeah, it's really bizarre and almost completely unplayable. And yeah, it's just so so weird to me because it's like, you know, it's one thing to make a game based off of a narrative film that, you know, especially in the Game Boy Advance, something that like a kid would play. But first of all, no kid liked March of the Penguins.
Right, I remember seeing it as a kid and thinking, I don't give a shit.
And no kid saw March of the Penguins and was like, wow, I wish I could
play that on the go.
I wish I could play this on the go.
Yeah, it's just a case of why.
Is there a console version?
No, I don't think so.
No, but I think it is also on the DS.
Well, I didn't know that.
I'd be curious to see how it compares.
Yeah, complete garbage from DSi Games, which have made.
I think they're. I was gonna say I think they're reputable for just shovelware titles.
They have made.
It just blows my mind that just these absolute crap shovelware titles, people buy them in the millions because that's like a dirt common game.
Mm-hmm.
Who's buying it?
Who knows? I mean, I found my copy probably in a dumpster
Man, I could go. I bet if I went down the manhole in my street right now, I'd find a sewer full of them. No wonder we got a metallic taste in the water. All the contacts have corroded.
Sam, are you saying you found that next to your Earthbound strategy guide in the dumpster?
That was on somebody's curb. I was not a dumpster.
So that still, God, I can't believe that.
It was near their garbage, though. And
I mean, who knows what else they had?
Who knows?
I would have broken into that house.
All right. So before Hunter commits a felony on live,
for legal reasons, that was a joke.
Yeah. How about movie-based games that you'd like to see?
Okay, I've got a couple I could say.
I actually struggled with this more than I thought because I found a lot of the games movies that had games already.
And one of the ones I'm going to say does have a lot of games already, but there's no games. I guess I'd have a specific thing. Should I go first, or do you?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Go for it.
One thing that I was going to say is there have been a ton of Indiana Jones games, but I was thinking, imagine if we got an Indiana Jones game made by like Naughty Dog.
Oh my God!
Like an actual, because I'm not like a massive fan of. I don't really like Last of Us, but I enjoyed Uncharted 4 quite a bit. And the whole game, you're thinking, wow, this is like playing an Indiana Jones game. Imagine if they had that license. They could make something really, really cool. And there already have been a lot of really fun Indiana Jones games.
Unfortunately, it would be Indiana Jones, The Curse of the Crystal Skull video game.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, isn't it?
No, it's
Kingdom
Curse.
of the Crystal Skull.
No, it's Curse of
I promise you it's Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
I just looked it up.
Wherever you looked, it was wrong.
Wikipedia? Never mind, I'm an idiot and can't read. It does say Kingdom.
Is that Indiana? I used to have Indiana Jones on Super Nintendo. Is that one supposed to be any good?
It's supposed to be. I've heard
it's all right.
It's kind of fun.
It's like the Star Wars games, right?
Sort of.
The 64 one is.
I have not played the Super Nintendo one. 64 one is, it's aged.
Yeah, it's aged.
But there's some old PC games. I forget what all of them are called, but there's some Indiana Jones adventure games on the PC that are supposed to be really fun.
I could see that. LucasArts, they did a lot of the point and click stuff, probably. Or yes, maybe.
Which, I'll wait to say my other one, but let you guys go. My other one would be a theoretical point and click adventure game. So.
We all know that LucasArts' best game is Star Wars Chess on Sega CD. So
I have that. That's why I have that game.
Do you really?
Yeah, I have it.
Isn't that game extremely rare and expensive now?
I don't know, but I know it's not fun.
It's terrible.
What's wrong with little chess on the Sega CD? I'm sure it's very.
I tried to play it, and I was like,
I'm thinking of a different game.
What do you mean a different Star Wars game, or what do you mean?
No, am I supposed to be thinking of a different game on the Sega CD?
That's rare and expensive?
Oh, I might be thinking of what is it? Is it the Space Adventure or whatever it is? What is that game?
That's a point and click game, yeah. I think.
Is that game that's really rare?
Yeah.
That must be what I was thinking of for some reason. I don't know. It had space. It had space in the title. Yeah, I did. And I completely. Oh my God! I just had it. It just went away. Go.
Yeah. Okay. So both of the ones that I picked have had video games, and I've already talked a little bit about both of them. But you guys, you know that new Predator game that came out for PS4?
Yeah.
Made by the Friday the 13th guys, which.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I think Tyler froze.
Oh, yeah, he might have. Oh, we might be losing him, boys. It's a good thing this isn't live.
Yeah. He'll unfortunately have to edit this one.
I was going to say, it's unfortunate now because he's going to have... Oh, wait. Oh.
I mean...
He's still in here. Still in here.
You know what's funny? The recording didn't stop either. It still has to count.
We were just talking about that. We were like, well, now he's going to have to edit it.
You'll probably want to go back to the recording, make sure it didn't screw up at any point.
Yeah.
But
so anyway, so you've the Predator game on PS4.
Yeah.
God, I was so disappointed when they announced the trailer. Not only is it a PS4 exclusive, but it was an online 3v or 4v1 game. I was just really, really disappointed because if you've ever played the AVP games back in the day on the PC, or the Super one on 360, the Predator campaign, especially on the 360, because that's the one I'm familiar with, is actually really fun.
It's super fun. I got that right when it came out, and it's awesome.
It is really good. And there's another game on Xbox and PS2 called Predator Concrete Jungle. It's not based on that book I was telling you about, but
that's ironic.
Yeah, but that game is like probably not good. But I remember playing the hell out of it. I actually beat it in middle school.
I haven't heard great reviews, so
yeah. And it's just such a great license imagine like an Arkham City type game. You know what I mean? Like something like that where you're going around, you know, it has that sweet combat. It could be so good, but I guess I'm just afraid that probably the license isn't big enough to make the game a catch.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, it is what it is. But I think that they're still missing a big opportunity, especially with some stupid online multiplayer game. I was so mad when I heard that.
The thing I've actually been interested in it because it's made by the same people who made that Friday the 13th game.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that. We didn't bring that up when we were talking about movie-based games.
Good game.
But that's a really fun game.
Yes,
and suits that. When I had heard they were doing a Predator game, I thought that could actually work really well as like what's the term? An unbalanced multiplayer or whatever.
Asymmetrical. Right?
Asymmetrical. An asymmetrical multiplayer game where you've got the one super powered Predator going against all these other players.
Yeah, it's like Friday the 13th, exactly.
Exactly, and that's exactly what that was and why it worked so well. But from what I've heard and from what you're saying, it seems like they didn't do a very good job with it.
I haven't heard great things about that game in particular. I'm sure it's fine, but I just don't like the games. I just don't like those games, mostly for the reason that they're just so. It's just you're doing the same thing, right? It's just an online matches. There's no story or campaign to play through. And I don't know. And they don't. And obviously, once this console generation's over, well, it's over too. You know what I mean? Or whenever the servers go down.
Right. Yeah.
The nice thing with Friday the 13th is I think you can do couch co-op kind of thing on that, but I might be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. I played a little Friday the 13th. I think Friday the 13th would work a lot better in that situation than Predator because of the. I'm just trying. I just think it'd be a lot more fun, and because it's like scary and it's got that whole camp aspect. Predator, I just want to be the Predator and I want to, lure people over here and then rip their spine out. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's what was so fun about Aliens versus Predator on the 360.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, I wish that they would make a new Predator game that's good and it's not one of those types.
Mm-hmm.
I am struggling. I do not remember what I wrote down for this question. I would have picked something that's in here. I never.
Scanners, the video game, maybe.
No, that would be badass though. Actually, Reanimator video game, that'd be pretty freaking awesome.
Reanimator.
Trying to how they even do that.
I mean, I don't know how they do it, but if they could figure out how to do it, that would be awesome.
I was gonna say Blade Runner, but there is a Blade Runner video game already.
There's a few they made like a point and click game. A couple years ago.
Yeah,
I've heard that's actually quite good.
I did not see that.
Or Snatcher, you can just play Snatcher. It's a lot like
exactly. Seriously.
Yeah. Oh yes, I could pony up $3,000.
That's all money with you.
Well, yeah, it is when the game is 1,000 and the system's 100. Yeah,
you could just get a TurboGrafx 16 Mini and then learn Japanese. So.
Oh, you could do that. Yeah, could do that. Hell, I could get a TurboGrafx real one with the CD add-on and get the version on there. Play that.
Probably still cheaper than getting just the Sega CD game.
I would almost guarantee. I almost bet you could buy a Turbo Duo for less than the cost of that game.
Maybe.
I'd put my money on that. It might be possible. Which is ridiculous in its own right.
Yeah. Also,
the rarity of the Turbo Duo is already.
I'm glad I still have mine.
You have one?
Yeah, I've got a Turbo Duo.
Where'd you get that?
I just got it.
Oh, okay. It just showed up at my door one day, and I was like, "All right."
So you don't have anything, Hunter?
No, I am blanking on this question.
I've got one more I can give if you want to.
Yeah, go for it.
There's a series of, well, originally they were short animated films, short stop motion movies that I watched so much as a kid, and they have made feature movies too, or a feature movie. But Wallace and Gromit is something that I grew up with very closely, and I love Wallace and Gromit. And I've always thought that like a point and click adventure in the same vein as that. You know that game on the PS1 that's like claymation and it's a platformer.
It's not Croc, is it?
No, it's like Monkey. It's not
Ape Escape.
No.
Well, anyway, is it? Shit, I go on.
That was a sequel to a PC game that was also like a claymation point and click adventure game, and I can't remember for the life of me what it was called. Skull Monkeys. It was the PS1 game.
That's it. That's it. Skull Monkeys.
That was a sequel to another, game that I can't remember the name of. But I imagine like a game like that with the Wallace and Gromit license would probably be so damn funny and just entertaining and fun. I don't know. That would be a cool little thing.
I think you're right, but I also think, like Tyler said with the other one, I just don't think the license is really big enough to sell.
The thing is, with point and click adventure games, I mean, if you were to do it on like a modest budget, the games like that do pretty well on the PC.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's really where they shine.
And like, you know, they years ago they made like, I guess now Telltale's gone, so something like that wouldn't happen with them. But
you know, I can't believe that they like came so high and then like
fizzled out.
2 months later, just like, we're out of business, we have no money.
Yeah, but they probably would have been the people to do it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and I will say the stuff they've done is impressive.
There's some Telltale games that I absolutely love with a passion.
Walking Dead is not one. Sorry for anybody listening.
Puzzle Agent, though, if you
I've not played that.
I love the Puzzle Agent games.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. I do like puzzle games. Well, I don't think I have an answer for this question. If I think of it 3 hours from now, I'll let y'all know. You're re-recording a whole past podcast just to zing a guy?
Like nobody's gonna understand what the hell you're talking about. But I do.
But y'all do, and that's what matters.
Yep.
Tyler, people don't even know what our name means.
That's true.
Hey, I know what your name means.
Yeah, but
I was given a hint, so I'm not going to compete in that competition.
Oh, and look, Sam, who was just on the podcast, is the winner of the gift card. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. All right. Well, we can move on then to the retro game spotlight. That's a little easier to come up with some stuff. Hunter, since you didn't have a movie thing, you want to go?
I do have an answer for this.
Okay.
Retro game.
It's a question, so that's good.
It's funny because Sam was just talking about that he doesn't really like beat 'em ups a whole lot. Best beat 'em up, Final Fight.
Sure.
Final Fight 2, Final Fight 3, hell, even Mighty Final Fight on the NES is an amazing game. I prefer it to Streets of Rage. I know I'm going to get flack for that, but I prefer it to Streets of Rage. I prefer it over Turtles in Time.
Not that somebody who doesn't, like I said, like beat 'em ups that much. I do really. I have Final Fight CD, and Final Fight CD is a really solid
version. Yeah, that's a really solid version.
But I would say I prefer Streets of Rage. I would say Streets of Rage.
I don't know. Don't get me wrong, Streets of Rage is also fantastic and amazing. But something about Final Fight.
It's a good pick. It's been a while since I played any of them, but that's the one I go to.
And me and my buddy have been playing it recently when I'm over there, and man, it's fun.
Have you played Final Fight CD?
I have, yeah. It's actually really good.
The only downfall is, and I can't believe they did this, the first one on Super Nintendo is not multiplayer. Why?
I was shocked too. Actually, I tried to play that multiplayer a few years ago, and I thought I must be doing something wrong.
Yeah, me too. I was like, there's no way this doesn't have multiplayer, right?
That's the main thing that's great about Final Fight CD is that's one of the few home console ports of Final Fight that actually does have multiplayer.
I'm actually surprised that got a release on there. I'm surprised that got a release and not a Streets of Rage CD.
Seriously.
Well, unless you count, that Sega Classic CD with Streets of Rage on it. Technically, it has a CD release.
It's on there.
It's on there. But yeah, Final Fight. But I love beat 'em ups. I'm biased.
It's a great pick.
I haven't played Final Fight in a long time.
Yeah, it's a blast.
Isn't 3? Don't they? Maybe I'm not remembering this correctly. Isn't 3 like not supposed to be that good?
No, 3 is the one. 3 is the reason you have Final Fight Guy. They took Guy out of Final Fight 3, and everyone was upset. And
First one.
they didn't. Huh?
I thought it was the first one they took him out of.
I thought it was the third
I
one.
thought so too.
Well, because in the arcade he's in the first one. I think that's what.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? You're right. All right, well, I don't know. 'Cause I haven't played.
Maybe I
haven't played
that
Final Fight 3 a whole lot.
People say that about Streets of Rage a lot too. That the third one's kind of the dark or the black sheep kind of.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard that a few times.
3 definitely has the worst music of the Streets of
the
Rage
new
games.
one?
I have that new one on order. I don't know when it comes out though.
Yeah, Sam, I'd actually probably agree with you on that.
Streets of Rage 1 and 2 have some of the best music on the Genesis, and then Streets of Rage 3, whatever his name is, the guy who composed it, he was doing some weird. He was trying to experiment with it, and it just sounds like shit.
Yeah, it sounds horrible. Good old losing my train of thought. What's new? Something about Streets of Rage soundtrack. Oh, yeah, good old Genesis with that, metallic industrial sound on every soundtrack. But it works.
That soundtrack is very kind of funky sounding too. I mean, it's just like
I will say
a lot of really fast beats and
Rock and Roll Racing's soundtrack on the Genesis is superior to the Super Nintendo.
It's good.
Not that the Super Nintendo one's bad, but it's got that. What is it? Shit, blast processing. So, Super Nintendo didn't have a chance.
Yeah. Tyler, do you have a spotlight game?
I do. I do have one. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. They both look. Well, you'll see. But this is the one I picked. Did you guys watch the James and Mike play video yesterday?
No, not yesterday.
They did Lolo, didn't they?
They did Lolo.
Yeah.
Lolo.
I have actually never played that game.
Lolo's awesome.
I'm a huge fan of old games that are like those single screen puzzle rooms.
So
like Solomon's Key, Lolo, Fire and Ice is a good one.
Is it Bomberman like that? Not exactly the same kind of game, but one screen.
Kind of similar, sure.
One screen, yeah.
Yeah, Lolo was one of the first ones I played. In fact, growing up, my one of my neighbors, actually I had moved out of the neighborhood. My grandparents still lived there. And so I'd go over there once in a while. And one of my good friends, he had an NES and lived in that neighborhood. So every once in a while I'd hang out with him. And some of the games he had were Jaws. So it was the first place I played Jaws. Jeopardy Junior Edition, which was, I don't know.
I mean, it's Jeopardy.
Anticipation, which I think is a fine game.
Oh, that game is actually incredibly fun. That and Othello. Play that.
I don't know that one. But then Lolo was the other one, and totally opened my eyes to these games, right? Because as far as I knew, Mario 1, 2, and that 3, I guess.
As far as you know, those are the only games in existence.
So I played it, and it's a super cool, difficult but fun, single room puzzle game, right? You got to collect all the hearts and get to the exit.
It's a Hudson Soft game, ain't it?
Hal.
Sorry.
Yeah, Hal. Yeah, it's basically like it looks a lot like Kirby.
I was gonna say, yeah, it almost looks like they might have taken some ideas from that. I know those games are really highly regarded. I've never played them.
All 3 of them are really fun.
All right, yeah, I was gonna say, how are the sequels?
The sequels are good.
Yeah, I have all of them, but I've never played. I think I played a little bit of 2, but that was it.
Okay.
But the first one for sure is a classic for 100%. Big fan of it. So Sam, obviously you've played it, but just for anybody who doesn't know, it's just like I said, single room puzzle game. You got to collect all the hearts, but then strategically place certain objects so that monsters don't kill you, and then get to the pearl once you collect all the hearts, and then leave the room. It is really fun, really simple. Yeah. But fun. It's one of those great games where it really gradually gets more difficult and it lets you learn the.
That's my favorite thing about games like that, with the single screen puzzles where you just continue throughout and learn new mechanics, and it introduces new ideas to you that, like, you'll get halfway through that game and they'll introduce a new mechanic and you're like, wow, this is really a cool, unique new way to solve this level.
Does a game like Snow Brothers count as a one-screen puzzle game?
Not really.
No.
That's more of a
I don't even know what genre that would be.
It's like an arcade style Mario type game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing as Bubble Bobble.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
It's better than Bubble Bobble.
One screen puzzle game. Things like Solomon's Key.
Which that is a classic.
Later in this episode, I'm really glad that you're talking about this kind of one-screen puzzle game right now, Tyler, because something I'll bring up later when we talk about modern Spotlight games. It's kind of like that. I think you'll like it.
Cool. Yeah, so go ahead, Sam. I'm finished.
Cool. For my retro Spotlight, this isn't really. This is just retro by the definition of pre-Xbox 360. This is a game it's available for the PC and the original Xbox. And I never hear a soul talk about this game. But if you like kind of adventure games, sort of, I don't know what I would really compare it to. I would say, like, imagine a point-and-click adventure version of the movie Seven. Yeah, it's like a murder investigation
kind of. You would be describing.
Yeah, the game is called Still Life.
I don't even know what that is. I don't even think I've heard of it.
Yeah, nobody ever talks about this game, and it's actually really, really cool. It's technically a sequel to a game called Postmortem, which I haven't played. I think that's like only on PC, and it's like a first-person adventure game. But this is third-person. I can actually, let's see if I can show you. I can cut to this. You can sort of see the footage here, but it's like you're walking around rooms talking to people, solving puzzles, doing all kinds of mysteries and stuff like that. And it's really, really like just a dark, fun, like I'm just a big fan of like adventure games like this.
You said that's also on the original Xbox?
It is on the original Xbox. I haven't played it on that. I've only played it on PC. I imagine the PC version.
I mean, generally point and click PC is the way to go, but interesting.
But it's cool that it's on a console at all, because generally games like that didn't really get ported very often. And I'm glad it's the Xbox of everything. But
real quick, a point and click game, it's a strategy game that does not work on console is Supreme Commander. Dog shit. Dog shit. Horrendous. It's just a real-time strategy game where you build units and stuff, and it's like a futuristic military kind of strategy game. I used to play it all the time. Horrendous on console. Do not play it. It's also broken. Like, some stuff just straight up doesn't work, and they never fixed it.
Wow.
So, Steam version is the way to go.
Still Life?
Still Life. Yeah, it's if you like the idea of like a murder investigation sort of thing.
I find
a lot of puzzles that you solve. Some of the most fun puzzles I've solved in like 3D adventure games. Your character is the descendant of the character in the game Postmortem, but at certain points in the game you'll flash back to that character from the first game, and it's like, that takes place during the times of like Jack the Ripper and stuff like that.
I just love the fact that the first one's called Postmortem and the second one's called Still Life.
Yeah.
What is this one? You see that?
Yep, that's Still Life. That's the Xbox game. It's got that number on it. I don't know why that's there, but
I was going to say, is this the third one? I don't know if this is. All right.
No,
the Adventure Company. The Adventure Company. Isn't that who did that Book of Unwritten Tales game on Wii U?
That's also now really rare that I don't have.
Maybe, I don't know. But if you like adventure games,
the fact that you even know that is incredible. Honestly,
my God.
How the hell do you even know that?
Look, it is.
Look at that.
What the hell?
That's cool.
I don't even know what that game is, honestly.
I mean, well, obviously it's the sequel to
Still Life.
The Book of Unwritten Tales 1, which is also known as the love letter towards Still Life. So I mean, it's really all coming full circle.
Is that also an adventure game? Or
Yeah, it's a point and click.
Oh, is it actually? I didn't even know that.
That's on Switch too, by the way, so you don't have to pay expensive money on Wii U to play that version. You can buy it on Switch.
Yeah. Instead of paying $40 for the Wii U version used, you can pay $40 for the Switch version new.
Everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
If you're fans of games like that, check out Still Life.
I just point and click.
It's not for everybody. I grew up playing that kind of stuff. I mean, some of the earliest gaming memories I have are playing games like Spy Fox and Dry Cereal on my PC.
I remember playing Myst and
Pajama Sam, and then from those I went on to stuff like.
Did you have the goat though, Freddy Fish? That's the question.
I did have Freddy Fish.
I saw Freddy Fish at Goodwill today. I couldn't believe it.
It's great. Those games are a lot of fun. I mean, obviously, those are super simplistic.
Yeah, well,
I probably wouldn't enjoy them like I did when I was a kid. But those evolved into my love for stuff like Still Life, and there's a bunch of other really good.
I've just never gotten into the point and click, which sucks because there's so many with like amazing like premises and plots that I think would be amazing. I don't like point and click.
The whole Space Quest series.
I was gonna say, Sam, you probably really would like Snatcher, wouldn't you, Sam?
I probably would enjoy it.
Yeah, actually, that's probably your kind of game.
I've never played it. I know it's kind of like
it is a point and click for the most part
kind of thing.
Yeah. The story,
I'm sure
the story to Snatcher is actually really good.
Mm-hmm. Great. That's a good pick. I was on an Xbox kick for a while, so I might have picked it up back then. But I have no experience with point and clicks, but you're gonna give it a shot. I would never play it on PC. I can't. PC game, could never do it.
Well, Tyler, your computer can't even run Skype half the time. I know you ain't playing a game on there.
Yeah,
Solitaire maybe, but not that.
Space Cadet. All right. So we'll move. All right, so we'll move on to the modern ones. And if you watch I'm not even gonna say that. You'll see why I got this confused with my retro game spotlight. But it's a brand new game, came out last year, 2 years ago, 2018. But it's Zeno Crisis. There we go, on the Genesis. So it's a new Genesis game. Oh my god.
You have Senti in there, don't you?
You're gonna believe this? Yes, I do. I forgot I swapped them out. I was playing this earlier, and I put Senti in here because I didn't want to, have it just lying.
I saw that. I was like, that doesn't look like Zeno Crisis.
It turns out he got sent a copy with a Senti in it.
How embarrassing! No, but I was playing it, and so it's a full-on Genesis game. It was like a Kickstarter, and I think they released it on. I think it might be on Neo Geo also.
This isn't one that was a prototype, right? This is a new game.
No, this is legit homebrew type game. But you can buy it from the publisher, Bitmap Bureau, and you can buy it in Genesis case. You get to pick like Mega Drive or Genesis style.
Oh, that's cool. Give you an option
I didn't know this when I ordered it, but the artwork is actually reversible, and the backside is more like that red style.
Oh, yeah, that's what you want to see. It's a nice red spine.
I'm a black box man myself, so I'm gonna keep that out. And
I think Men of Class are all the black grid box game.
Yes. So I started playing the game yesterday, and the premise is basically Smash TV. I mean, think Smash TV. You're in the room, the single room, except that it's a procedurally generated game, which for the Genesis has got to be the only one.
What does that mean?
It means the levels are like randomly created every time you play them. So every time you play it, it's the level layout is different.
I don't think that's the only Genesis game because Highlight does that. Super Highlight does that.
I've never played that. Yeah, but so
I'm almost positive the Super Highlight does that.
I'm sure it's much worse.
Oh, don't get me wrong. The game
I used to own that and I never played it.
I honestly couldn't tell you which game is worse. The NES one, the Genesis one, or the fucking Saturn one. They're all horrendous. You know in Japan there's like 8 of those on NES?
I'm sure.
I do not.
Yeah, it's really popular in Japan, but sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. So have you played like Dead Cells or anything, Hunter?
Yeah, you showed it to me when I came up there, and it was fun. Yeah.
Well, okay, that's what I think of when I think of procedurally generated. Every time you play Dead Cells, it's a different level layout. I don't know anything about hide light.
Yeah, hide light is like that.
Right, well, okay.
At least virtual hide light is. I don't know if the Genesis one is. I could be wrong. But I know that the Saturn one does. I'm almost positive the NES one does too.
So I thought then that this was really advanced for the Genesis.
No, it is though. Yeah, that's very advanced.
So it's an over-the-top shooter, just like Smash TV. It's a twin-stick shooter, basically. And it has voice in it, which sounds crystal clear somehow. I don't know how they do it.
Some Genesis games have some good sounding voice. I'll give it to it.
I'm guessing the fact that it came out in 2018 has a lot to do with it, because I don't know.
Technology now is probably a lot better than what they had in 1995.
Yeah. This sounds
using the same hardware though, so.
Yeah, it's still impressive.
Yeah, but they've probably found ways to really push the hardware even further, I'd imagine.
There could be a chip inside the cartridge or something too.
Right, yeah, something like that, maybe.
But it looks really good, and the gameplay is good. But I went over a few minutes ago. I stepped away before we started doing it, and the reason I did that is because I wanted to grab this.
Oh, nice.
Just the 6-button arcade stick, which I have never used.
I don't think I've ever seen the 6-button version.
Yeah. I don't use these things a lot. I'm not a huge.
I never do.
It's just not my thing.
Unless, of course, it's for the Neo Geo, which I've never played. So.
But here's why I grabbed it for Zeno Crisis, and I'll try and explain it as best I can. So it's a twin-stick shooter. Here's your left stick. This cross right here.
That's your right.
That's your right stick. So this is up. That's right. That's down. This is left.
Seems not like a good setup.
So with a controller, it's actually really hard because you're just using your thumb. Yeah. But with this, you can actually put a finger on each button, so it's way easier, just unbelievably easier.
It's kind of.
I'll give credit for that, but it's also like.
I was going to ask about that because Smash TV on the Genesis has a really fucking stupid way of doing the twin stick thing.
It's not stupid, Sam. It's a very interesting way.
Sure. Where you have to like hold a certain button when you want to shoot backwards and not hold it when you want to shoot forwards. And whereas the Super Nintendo Smash TV, you do exactly what you do there. You use the 4 face buttons as control. Or on the Genesis version, you have the option. I'm curious if this game has this option. You can use 2 controllers like GoldenEye.
I was gonna say, can you do that?
I don't know. Let me open up the manual, see if you can do
it. I would imagine they'd probably give you the option to, right?
It's a 2-player game, so maybe single player.
Maybe in single player you could do it, or maybe not.
That would be interesting to see.
All of 2 people in the world would want to do it.
Right. Tyler would be the only person doing this, but
there's a lot of N64 games that allow that though.
More than people realize.
GoldenEye and Perfect Dark both do that. Robotron 64 does that, which is great.
I was gonna say that's the way to play Robotron. So
yeah, and Star Wars Episode 1 Racer I know does that as well. You can control each engine on each side separately.
Really?
Yeah, it's really cool.
I wonder if that's how the remake is on the Switch with each Joy-Con.
Maybe.
It must be.
Yeah, it's neat.
That's interesting. I didn't know that game did. Okay.
There might be like one other that I'm not thinking of, but.
Sculptor's Cut.
Yeah.
Sorry,
it doesn't say, by the way, if you can use 2 controllers. It doesn't say, so I don't know.
Maybe not, but
yeah. Yeah. So anyway. The only problem with this, but you can buy it's on Switch. You can buy like digitally. You can buy it wherever you want. But I thought the Genesis version would be really cool.
Yeah.
And
now that I have it, I'm super glad I bought it. But the what was I gonna say? The only problem is when you buy it from the developer, and the developers in the UK, I think it turned out to be close to like $80 to $90 to actually get this thing.
I want to point out the fact that your box cover also covers the hang tab,
which is great.
Isn't that neat? Yeah. A lot of them don't do that.
I was going to say, most I've seen, if ever, I don't even know if I've ever seen.
That's way better because then you're not bending it constantly.
Yeah.
Well, see, the other ones I have do not do it. So I did it on this one because it's brand new, and most of them can take it. I mean, they're not going to snap or anything. But this one, I figured.
You tell that to NHL 93.
You know, EA games don't have hang tabs. There's no way. And there's not even an NHL.
You're right.
It's NHL PA.
94. 95.
Oh, all right. Well, you start putting stuff under microscopes, and it's going to start not making sense. All right.
So, anyway, that's my game. You guys, whoever wants to go next.
You can go, Hunter.
All right. I just lost my train of thought. What question are we on?
Modern
games. That's right. Modern games. All right. So I'm going to point out a series that has been around since the PS2, and they're still making them, but it's not one of those like I don't know if I'd call it a AAA title, but it's not really a small title. The Just Cause series, specifically the second one, because that's the only one that I've played so far. But I know that 3 and 4 are supposed to be like really good. 2 is a blast. It's kind of like Grand Theft Auto on crack, sort of, if you can do that.
So Saints Row on map. I got you.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like Saints Row, sort of over the top, really ridiculous. You know, shooting people, flying, grappling up mountains and stuff. It's ridiculous. Like you can grapple yourself to a plane and fly. Like, yeah, realistic, right?
Yeah.
The biggest complaint with the second one that they, thank God, I've heard fixed in 3 and 4, the vehicle controls, some of the worst. Holy shit, they're terrible. I failed this one mission like 40 times just because the controls, I couldn't remember which way to go left. And it's not left, by the way.
It's not left to go left. It's
I can't remember, but the control scheme it's fucked up. Just the way they did it was terrible.
Well, if left doesn't go left, I'd say that's pretty bad.
It's like making jump up. Come on. Don't make jump up. But I remember being upset, though, because I was like, by this point, by the time this game came out, it was already established how you should do driving controls.
Mm-hmm.
And they still messed it up. I will say, I think the first one, I know it's on PS2, but I think that's unbeatable due to a glitch. Or you can make it unbeatable by accident. I'm almost positive. So I think you should play that one on PC. But the second one is great, and apparently 3 and 4 are even better. And I have both of them. I just haven't played them yet.
I actually have 4 because the Epic Games was giving away 4 for free recently. So I have a copy on PC.
I got 4 off of Game Pass, I think.
Yeah. It's I've been meaning to try it because
I have 3. I'm looking at it because I just bought it like a couple weeks ago. I think I might pop that in soon.
Yeah. Epic Games just gives away on their store a new game every other week.
Oh yeah.
I just always take whatever it is, even if it's something I know I'm never gonna play.
Even if it's crap, it's free, right?
Yeah.
It might not exist one day, and you could have the only version.
Could be.
Could be.
I guess I'll give mine. My modern game pick is a game called Steven's Sausage Roll.
Oh yeah.
Never heard of it. Sounds
this is
terrible, but please explain.
This is one of the best puzzle games I've ever played in my life, and it is like you were describing with Lolo. It is a single screen puzzle game.
Interested.
And unfortunately, it goes against one of your rules, Tyler, that you also brought up in this podcast. It's only available on PC and Mac. It's not on a console, unfortunately. But it is so worth your time. It'll run on anything. I mean, I actually have it set up where I can show you footage of it just so I can explain a little of what it is, because this game is it's one of my favorites. Let's see here. There it is. So you play as this little dude.
Obviously, it's Steven's Sausage Roll, apparently.
Yeah, this came out in 2017, I believe. And so the way you move is the main puzzle in this game, because you can just rotate and move forward and backwards. You can't move side to side. And you want to cook the sausages on each screen that you go to. But your sausage has 2 sides. When you rotate it, it's on one side. When you rotate it, it's on the other. And you don't want to burn it. And the goal is to cook all the sausages on each screen without burning any, and evenly cook all of them.
This looks very interesting.
It's really fun. And so each puzzle becomes this mess of like trying to figure out how to evenly cook everything like this. And eventually you get to the point where you can do them like the back of your hand. But what you brought up with Lolo, where it's like you learn all these different mechanics and it gets progressively harder and harder throughout the game. I mean, this game, that feeling of like that eureka moment when you solve a puzzle that's really, really hard is like better than anything I've ever
It's
played.
just funny because it looks like it was made by like someone who just learned how to program.
So there's like all kinds of weird mechanics where not only, I mean, I showed you that was like one of the first puzzles in the game, but you can also like move things like this, but then you can't take it off until you pull it off. There's so much more depth to the puzzles in this game than you could ever imagine being in a fucking little sausage game.
It does, I gotta admit, it does look fun.
Yeah, it looks pretty interesting.
It's really, really cool. Nobody talks about it. And yeah, I can't recommend it enough.
I don't know. I still don't think I've ever played a better puzzle game than the Luminous series.
Well, that's sort of a different kind of. That's more in the vein of like Tetris and.
Well, yeah, but it's, I don't know. I was thinking generally puzzle games. That's what I think of. But you're right.
When I think of puzzle games, I think like stuff like this, where it's like you're really just sitting there and trying to solve something. Solve an issue, where it's like Tetris and those games. It's still a puzzle game technically, I guess, but it's more of like an action puzzle game.
Yeah, you're right.
But man, Steven Sausage Roll. I wish they would put it on Switch or something, just so more people could experience it. Because I know a lot of people don't play stuff on PC.
6 months, limited run will have it with a collector's edition, a special edition.
If only.
I'll tell you,
came out like 2017.
I'll tell you a great puzzle game that is on the PS2 that, it's much like I just said, it's not really the same kind of game, but you should play it, is Fanta Vision. Which I think was a launch title.
Is that a puzzle game? It's more like a rhythm game, isn't it?
It's technically a puzzle game.
Is that fireworks game?
It has rhythm. It's like a rhythm-based puzzle game, like Luminous. I mean, that's what Luminous is.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm a sucker for those kinds of games. I really love them, which is ironic because I fucking hate Tetris. I am so terrible at Tetris.
Really?
Oh, I'm horrible.
This is one of the best games ever.
It just doesn't interest me.
I gotta tell you about this game. I've been playing it.
This Russian dude made falling blocks.
I mean, it's probably one of the most genius games ever made.
I mean, I'm joking.
You like Luminous? I mean, that's the falling block game too.
It's one of the biggest games ever. I just don't. It's like Pac-Man. I don't think Pac-Man's that great of an arcade game.
The hot takes.
Also, speaking of Pac-Man, I just watched the John Hancock video. Apparently, Baby Pac-Man got a port, which was never been doable because that was a pinball machine and an arcade machine combined. They put it out on, I want to say it was on Atari 2600. And
they picked that to do
or
that.
something. Yeah, this dude has apparently ported like every Pac-Man to every system, which is nuts. But he did Baby Pac-Man, and I can't believe how good it turned out.
Wow.
Obviously you're not getting the full experience because you don't have a real pinball machine, but
yeah,
what he's done is incredible.
So we've been playing recently a game called Tricky Towers.
Oh, great game.
You know what that is, Sam?
Tetris done like that. Tetris done like that, fun.
So think of, you know how Tetris is strictly grid-based, right? So you can only move it, right, in a grid. Imagine that there is no grid, and you're stacking these things. Yeah, you have to stack them on your, like, freeform.
You have to basically make them balance, yeah.
Yeah. And you're racing another opponent to get to a certain height, and it's physics-based, so it will sway. You know what I mean? And it's the Tetris pieces.
It can blow over. It can fall down.
Yep, and you've got to stack them, and then you can.
And if I'm not mistaken, I haven't played it in a minute. Don't you have like power ups and stuff too? Like you can.
Yeah, you can have an offensive and a defensive power up that'll help you or hurt the other person.
Yeah, I was addicted to that for. Yeah, I was addicted to that game for like a month. It was really fun.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. Super Rare did a release of it. That's where I bought it. But you can do it digitally. I don't know how much.
Yeah, I would like to get their release of that actually.
Yeah.
I totally forgot that came out. I didn't even remember until just now.
Yeah.
I'd buy that.
I'd never even heard of it.
Yeah, you should play that. That's a really great game.
Yeah.
It's also on PC.
Cool. Probably. Cool. Well, that's the end, and I believe it's my turn this week to do the trivia.
It is. It is.
And I had one, right? So I had one. I was like, oh, that'll go great on the show. And then I forgot to look it up and get my facts. So, but I managed to get them because I knew right where the information was. I knew right how to get to it. So I was able to pull it up and get the stuff while we were on the show. So I do have one. And it's pretty good. It's pretty interesting.
We're professionals tonight.
Yeah, but it's about a game that you're not going to care about, probably. I didn't, anyway. Do you remember Blinks on the Xbox?
Yeah,
Yes.
Who the hell cares about Blinks?
Yeah,
Oh, you mean the game I always think is Conker's Bad Fur Day? Every time I see it in a stack of Xbox games? Yeah, that one.
Yeah. So I was watching I learned this from Pete Dorr.
I was just watching him.
Yeah, I was watching a video of his a couple of weeks ago, and I thought, wow, that's really interesting. So the Platinum Hits version of Blinks is actually like an updated version of the game. So think of it like a version 1.2 or whatever. You know what I mean?
Like I've heard that maybe.
Yeah. So if you're going to play one, that's the one that you want to play. But what's interesting is that it's also backwards compatible. So if you buy the original on Xbox One, so if you buy the original disc and you put it in, you're going to play the original game. But if you buy the Platinum Hits version,
it actually plays that version?
No, you're going to play the original version again. But if you buy the Japanese version, it will download the Platinum Hits American version, and you can then play it that way.
What in the hell's going on here?
I know, wasn't that?
Why? It's Blinks.
I don't know at all.
It's not even a game anyone cares about, really.
Yeah.
What did Pete Dorr mention this or something?
Yeah, because he had games he had bought recently or something. He was mentioning it. He played it, and then he said this. He's like, "So you want to play the Platinum Hits version? Yada yada yada, but you can't backwards compatible." And that's when he said,
I would have never probably known that unless you just told me. But B, I know there are other games that have done that same thing. Like there's like a greatest hits or something, but it's the better version.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's some other original Xbox titles that might be like that.
Not all that surprising. I mean, it happens all.
But it's just like it's Blinks though. What was there really to update?
What's the craziest thing is the backwards compatibility thing of it. That's
right. Right. So the American one doesn't work, but if you get the Japanese one, it downloads the American one.
The Platinum Hits version of the American one.
Right. Yeah. But you got to get the Japanese version.
Yeah, it's really
that doesn't make a damn lick of sense because that just means to me that the Platinum Hits one is on the store then.
I don't know where it comes from.
So why doesn't it download that with the American disc?
I do not know. I don't know. But anyway, that was good.
Speaking of variants, what is up with that damn wrestling game, real quick?
Yeah, I saw you post that, and I immediately apparently
$600.
Which one is it? No Mercy, WWE.
Justin,
No Mercy.
Yeah, Justin Business 17. He's the one that messaged me the other night. I was just sitting here, out of the blue, and he sends me that picture, and he's like, "Were you aware of this?" And I was like, "No." When the hell did no? I was like, "When did No Mercy become $600 fucking dollars?"
But
and of course, my immediate reaction was, "Gotta dig through all my tubs. I know I have a copy somewhere." Jesus Christ. No, so there's a version, I guess, that has USA, that just says USA, and then there's one that says -1,
which is the updated version.
Which is
I was looking into this.
This is another case of it's a updated version.
Mm-hmm.
It says, in fact, Justin said it right here. It was a mail-away replacement for the original game, which had a glitch with the saving feature on the card. So it's kind of like Rage Wars, honestly.
It's the same sort of thing with Rage Wars.
Yeah,
I mean, Rage Wars had the gray cartridge, which makes it easier to spot at, just first.
Yeah, but
that's a THQ game too, right? The wrestling game.
It is, yes.
Yeah. They are fucking it up.
Yeah. What the hell's going on here?
Oh wait, Acclaim was Turok, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Acclaim does Turok.
Yeah,
but
that's crazy. Yeah,
I immediately checked my copy. Mine is, of course, not the.
Justin told me that Ryan, his has it, and he told me that that's the copy he sold to him like 10 years ago.
No way.
Yeah, and Ryan has that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I was like,
that he's sticking himself.
But like, who would have thought? It's No Mercy.
I probably got rid of multiple copies of No Mercy.
I mean, how many copies of that game have I had? It comes in every N64 line. I've had at least 30 copies of that game, if not more. Who knows how many thousands of dollars I gave away? But tell you what, though, I'm gonna be looking for it now.
That would be an easy one that would slip for sure.
Dude, I'm gonna go to my game store tomorrow and check because I know they don't look that up.
No.
I've caught them on like the what is it? The Hydro Thunder variant. I got them on the Army Men variant.
Hydro Thunder one's really hard to find.
Yeah, that's getting rare. Have you seen?
I haven't seen how much it goes for, but I've known.
I don't know the price, but it's getting pretty rare to find that one. But yeah, it's just not a game anyone's gonna check. It's wrestling.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we can end it there. Pushing an hour 45. So Sam, thanks for being on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It was really great to have you here.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
For sure.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.